Okay, here we are back for game 2. Alex took the first one, so if he wins this game, he will have won the best 2 out of 3 series, and he will be this week's champion. But obviously, if Cale can win this, he will force it to a third decider, and Cale will go first as he lost the first match. He starts Sableye Darkrai, which is probably one of the best starts you can have. You'd probably want maybe a Dino as well, but he Ultra Balls Dark Energy in the Tornadus EX away. He knows he doesn't need that Tornadus EX in this matchup, as he's seen that Alex doesn't play Terrakion, so he can easily discard that, and it's no longer needed. And obviously getting the Dark Energy into the discard pile early for Dark Patches later on. And he grabbed a Dino off that Ultra Ball, and then End. So Alex isn't someone I've really met before this tournament, and obviously he's a very good player to be able to make it to this final. I did happen to play against this tournament, and he does play very well. He's very methodical. His decisions are very well made. And Cale I've played against many times and is pretty much the same, which probably explains why these two are here at the final. And why they have done so well. So we see Alex level ball for a Dino. Obviously we'll try and get Hydreigon set up quicker in this game than he did in game 1, although it didn't seem to affect him too much. He did draw max potions at the right time and was able to catch Cale's Pokemon out. And I don't think Cale in that first game played a max potion at all, which probably hurt him, I suppose, in the end. He was able to move his energy around, but just wasn't able to heal his Pokemon. So you see Alex Ultra Ball here. Ultra Ball's away. The old school rare candy and the Juniper. Getting another Dino just to make sure that if one gets knocked out, he still has that option of being able to rare candy Hydreigon next turn. And as you can see, Alex has had a pretty good start. 3 Darkrai's and 2 Dinos before he even played his supporter. So we might just wait and see if he does anything else this turn. He is lacking energy though, that's the only problem. So maybe he drew at least 1 Dark off that N. No, he drew nothing, so he whiffed on energies off 14 cards. 14 cards and didn't see 1 energy. And as you can see, Cale turn 2 Hydreigon and then catch out his Dino, and then Juniper's away Juniper, and didn't quite see what the other card was, but obviously that's 2 Junipers gone. It's one thing in testing with this deck myself and talking to other people who've played Darkrai Hydreigon, you do tend to run through your deck quite quickly, otherwise this deck does become clunky and inconsistent. You do need to run through your deck with supporters. And we also see a turn 2 Night Spear, so that's a very, very good start for Cale. Turn 2 Hydreigon and turn 2 Night Spear. There is also an Eviolite on that active Darkrai, and he obviously Night Speared the Dino and put 30 on the other Dino, setting that up for a knockout later on. So we see Alex Ultra Ball here again. I'm not quite sure if there's much he can afford to get rid of at this stage. Looks like another rare candy and a Bianca. We'll see what he gets. See if he gets... Oh, he had a third rare candy. So he might not have been getting energies, but he was definitely drawing rare candies. That's 3, I think, that are in the discard pile. But hey, once you got one Hydreigon, if you can protect it well enough, then you don't need those rare candies anyway. So, and then he Junipered. He level balled for that other dino you see on the far side, and then Junipered. See if he's actually got an energy yet, after going through probably a third of his deck in 2 turns. You got a Sableye. It's not quite a dark energy, but here we go. Yeah, so we get touches a dark energy, that Darkrai retreats it for Sableye, and then Dark Trances that dark energy back up to Sableye. And he will junk hunt, so that's we didn't get to see what he junk hunted for. I would suspect maybe at least one rare candy and maybe a level Ultra Ball, maybe an Ultra Ball to chase another Hydreigon. But he catches out the Sableye here and goes for the Confuse Ray and rolls a tail, so he's not confused but happens to... No, so he mustn't have junk hunted. He must have just looked through his discard pile. So he didn't junk hunt. So he's just gone for the Confuse Ray. I think he just must have looked through his discard pile to see if there was anything worth junk hunting for. And decided there was nothing useful in there, so just went with the Confuse Ray. And you see Cale use Sharon. Me personally, I'm kind of indifferent on Sharon, especially in Darkrai, and I would say also electric decks. Those are 2 decks you kind of want to discard stuff in, which I think makes Bianca more of a better option than Sharon. But maybe Sharon's just there to consistently draw 3 every time, whereas Bianca, you might have Bianca and get stuck with a hand of 4 and you're only Biancaing for 2 or maybe 1. But obviously that's the reason Cale probably plays as Sharon, is just for consistency of drawing 3 every time no matter what. But we see Cale set up another Darkrai and then Dark Patch, and then promote that Darkrai with the Eviolite again and take the knockout on Sableye and put 30 on that Hydreigon. So like last game, that's what you should be doing with your 30 damage, setting up Hydreigons for knockouts. But I think obviously both these players are very good players and understand that that's where you need to put that damage. But for those of you who don't play Darkrai a lot or are just in the game, things like bench damage, whether it be Raikou EX, Darkrai, Stunfisk, Kyogre, these are all things you need to think where you're going to put that bench damage, and setting Pokemon up for knockouts later down the track. We see Alex play that max potion, so now his Hydreigon's going to be at least safe from a one-hit KO, except from another Hydreigon. So if Cale decides he wants to power up his Hydreigon and capture out Alex's, then obviously due to the dragon weakness, weak to each other, he'll be doing 280 with weakness, so that's definitely a knockout on Hydreigon at only 150 HP. But we see Cale drop another Hydreigon with Rare Candy. And a touch of Dark Energy to his bench Darkrai. And Tool Scrapper that Eviolite away. It's very important, those Eviolites. So getting rid of them and being able to do 90 to Darkrai instead of 70. It's those little things like that extra 20 damage is what's going to turn these mirror matches. If you can do an extra 20 if you can do 90 instead of 70, that's what's going to be the difference in the end. And we see Alex retreat and promote a fresh Darkrai. And then just max potion that damage away again. So that's 2 max potions Alex has played now. It looks like he's going to maybe catch her. We'll see. Yep. So he's going to catch her. Now what is he going to... I would say maybe the Darkrai with no Eviolite. Yep. Yeah, so he catches the Darkrai with no Eviolite. And then Bianca's for 5s. And that's the thing with Bianca. So you can either be 5 or sometimes it's just 1 or 2. But obviously if you can play your hand down enough and be able to make use of the cards while playing them down and draw a lot with Bianca, then that's what you need to be doing with that supporter. He also plays Dark Patch and then shifts that up to the active. And Night Spears, and I would put 30 on the... Drops 30 on the Sableye, which is good. That's the thing about that little Confuse Ray, because Sableye is 70, so it's not really a good number for Night Spears. It takes 3 Night Spears, and you don't really want to be wasting 3 Night Spears on just a Sableye. In these matches, you're pretty much going to have to knock out 3 Darkrai to win. Because even if you knock out 1 Sableye, you still have to kill 3 Darkrai or a Hydreigon and 2 Darkrai to take your 6 prizes. But this way, that 10 damage from Confuse Ray means you only have to use 2 Night Spears to kill a Sableye. But we see Cale play the Juniper, and I think he Junipered away another Juniper, so... But he did get a Dark Energy and attached it to the Hydreigon. And shifts all his energy from the damaged Darkrai to the Hydreigon. And that's the other thing you need to be... that good players are going to do. They're going to move their energy off damaged bench Pokemon. Just in case their opponent has a catcher. You don't want to get your damaged Pokemon, catch it up, knocked out, and then you lose all that energy off the field. Although Hydreigon is normally used for shifting energy and healing, or shifting and attacking, you need to be able to just shift it just to keep it on the field too. So he shifts it to his Hydreigon, knowing it's going to be safe over there. Nothing's going to one-hit Hydreigon except another Hydreigon, and Alex isn't going to risk promoting his Hydreigon just to knock out 1. So we see Alex again retreat a damaged Darkrai and promote a fresh one. And this is just the merry-go-round that Darkrai Hydreigon do. You just retreat, promote a healthy Darkrai, and away you go. So he hits the active for 70 and then knocks out that Sableye. And so we see Cale random receiver here. Until he gets N. Again, it's hard to see what prizes Alex had. I think he's only... That Sableye may have been the first prize he's taken. Whereas Cale was on 4 prizes, as you can see, and I think he's knocked out 1 Dino and a Sableye, I think, to take his 2 prizes. And then Cale ends. And Cale will draw 4, and I think Alex will draw 5. And this is just, with that, instead of just moving the energy and moving it back just to save time, Cale's just max potion that active and just left the energy there. Alex understands that he's obviously moved the energy away, max potioned and moved it all back, but just to save the time, just leave the energy there and everyone knows what's going on. So, Knight Spear for 90 and 30 on the Dino. And we see again on Alex's turn, just retreats the damaged Darkrai, promotes a healthy Darkrai, and Cale just feels like he's almost back to square one, just dealing with facing another fresh Darkrai. Just wondering how many times Alex can take Night Spears without actually losing a Darkrai. And you see Alex move that spare dark energy to Sableye, which is smart because I don't think you're not going to see Cale waste a catcher just to catch a Sableye. So it's pretty safe there. And then you see here Alex catches the damaged Darkrai on the bench for the knockout with Night Spear, and then drops 30 on the Hydreigon. With the blend, it didn't really matter which Hydreigon, he's going to put 30 on Hydreigon either way, because you're not going to put 10 on the Eviolated Darkrai. And he just puts 30 on the Hydreigon with the blend, even though you can move them around. It's just, you might as well put it there just for that reason, because it doesn't really matter which Hydreigon you put it on. And we see Cale reply with a knockout of his own with the 30 damage from Night Spear, knocking out the Dino on Alex's bench, and also putting 90 on the active Darkrai. Now, Alex needs a max potion. All his Darkrai's have 90 damage on them, or an Eviolite. If he doesn't get either of those, or he doesn't retreat his Darkrai's to perhaps a Sableye, then one of those is going to get knocked out next turn. But instead he just leaves the actors up there and Night Spears for 70 and then 30 on the same Hydreigon as before. And Cale drops a fresh Darkrai, just retreats the active and shifts all the energy to that one, and and he takes the knockout on Alex's Darkrai. And let's see where he puts the 30 on the Hydreigon. Okay, you're right. Alex just promotes to Sableye because he knows he can retreat it. Ooh, a double Dark Patch, which is good news for Alex, as he only had the 2 energy on the field. Let's see if he can get a max potion, or maybe get a supporter and draw into a max potion. Otherwise, I think it's going to be a hard slog to come back from here with 2 Darkrai with 90 damage on them. But he does play down the Virizion and promotes the Virizion with the blend. So maybe he's going to go for the Leaf Wallop, which is probably not an attack you'd expect to see in a Darkrai Hydreigon match, the Leaf Wallet for 40, and it also has the effect of making Leaf Wallet do an additional 40 if it's used next turn. But instead he used Double Draw, which I'm not quite sure why he moved. Yeah, and that's game. The Hydreigon with Dragon Blast, and that's the end of game 2.